we were talking about this a little earlier, Rick. We want to bring you into the conversation. The lost art of the mid-range jump shot. Obviously, you saw a lot of the stuff on Kevin Durant yesterday on Twitter. It all stems sort of from Zach LaVine being unclear where he is with the Bulls. The Bulls are telling him that they want him to be more efficient. Maybe don't shoot as many contested two-point shots. Don't try to be Kobe. Don't try to be Jordan. Try to be a little bit more of an efficient player. What's your thoughts on this notion that the mid range should be sort of eradicated from the game? Because I do think that the pendulum has swung a little bit too far. Like I think not every team has to be the Rockets where they're just shooting threes or getting dunks on every possession. There still is value there. I think it's specifically value for a player's skill set. Like a guy like Kevin Durant, for example, when he's saying, "Hey, yeah, I want to shoot twos." Yeah, well, that's okay because your 2-point shot is basically unblockable, and you shoot over 55% from the mid range. Now there aren't a lot of guys in the NBA that do that. Zach LaVine is not a good mid-range jump shooter. He shoots, I think, about 36% from the mid-range. So I understand where the Bulls are coming from. What's your take on this whole debate here?
My problem is that the conversation is about the shot rather than the decision-making around the shot. It seems crazy to me, the idea that if you run a guy off the 3-point line, well, now he's got to go to the rack. I mean, that's the only option once he's been run off the 3-point line. It seems to make it relatively easy for the defense. And it doesn't take into account the guys that are going to operate from the pinch post and be able to play out of that and make out of that. And if need be, if everything is guarded and taken away, well, then I can always pivot and hit a turnaround fade from that space, that area. Now, you added the word contested. I haven't, contested 2-pointers, I can see where you'd say, let's try to slow our roll on the number of those that we take. But that's also where analytics falls down because everybody thinks it's like exact numbers and everything. For those out there that are the numbers heads, you do realize that analytics, the deeper analytics, are generated by people looking at film and making judgment calls on what is contested or exactly where a shot is taken from. And as a result, it's still a subjective thing. You could technically say KD's mid-range jump shot is being contested, and yet he can't even see the defender's hand in his frame as he's taking the shot. And I would dare say there are situations where Zach LaVine, because of his vertical, that he has the same thing, his quickness. So I just see it as an incredibly valuable tool for scorers, particularly in need situations, down by one, and I have to go to the rack. What if shot blockers are in there? What if I'm not comfortable? What if I don't have guys to dump it off to? It seems too simplistic to say we should just take the mid-range game out. I get the percentages. I understand how the percentages work, but it doesn't take into account what KD said, which is like, how do you feel about the shot? If that's a shot you believe in, then I want the guy who's taking a shot confidently as opposed to a guy who's driving to the cup and is getting challenged by a shot blocker and doesn't feel good about having to adjust his shot off the glass in order to make it. I'll take the pull up mid range with the hezzy, as KD would say, anytime over that.
Yeah, but it's also not taking into account that shot missed and the offensive rebound percentage. And when you do get to the basket and you create rotation, now moving the ball and finding another wide open shooter, you're looking at it from an individual standpoint, which I always think the game, you have to look at it from a team standpoint. Is that the best shot that your team can get? Which I don't think scorers necessarily look at the game like that. I think they look at the game like, how am I going to get mine?
Sure.
Which if you're looking at basketball and what's the best way to get the best shot, it's typically not going to be taking a pull-up two. There's always a better shot to get. Now, I will argue that Kevin Durant in the finals, even in the Western Conference Finals, it's not going to be easy for him to turn the corner and get to the basket. So he's going to have to be effective, but during the regular season, which I guess you're going to have to practice to get to that point.
Thank you.
True.
I'm just going to break out my mid-range in the playoffs when it matters the most, even though I haven't really taken those shots under duress the entire season.
Yeah, but
that's
like,
sense.
Okay, so I'll guarantee you this: Zach LaVine probably not going to have to worry about that. When is he working on his mid-range? When he makes it to the finals in 2027?
Are you saying that the Bulls are not going to be in the playoffs?
No, he might. No, I don't even think the first round is indicative of what you'll see in the conference finals or the finals.
See, Ceruti, what we have here with Scal is we have somebody who's spoiled. Somebody who's with teams that their end game was the championship, playing for a championship. That's what they considered. And Scal's also one of those guys who lived off of scorers who made good decisions and found him for shots. And so it's a matter of right?
No, you're spot on. You're spot on, except for I'm not looking at it from a selfish perspective. But you are spot on. Like, I just think that's the best basketball.
And I'm not saying selfish. I'm just saying your global view of the game is this is how it should work. And what I've seen with scorers, they have to have a certain degree of selfishness. They have to have a certain degree of ego to say, no, let me take this. And you afford that to the guys who can get you there. The guys who just want to take the shot all the time, right? And or any shot's a good shot. It's like, yeah, but dude, we're not winning anything when you do that. So like we need to adjust. But the guys who can get there, I mean, look, Kobe took bad shots. But there were times where he forced shots, but he would make him in the biggest situation. So you lived with it until he didn't, or you live with it until the guy doesn't. The idea that defenses are so well designed that you are going to take a space on the floor and say, yeah, we don't shoot from here, just seems insane to me because of the dynamics. I mean, athletes have gotten longer, stronger, faster. Like, you need every inch of real estate. You need to be a threat on every inch of real estate. And I'll tell you, Steph Curry, one of the things that allowed him to go to the next level was that he was able to develop little floaters and runners in from 10 to 12 feet. That made him unguardable once he if you had to close him out at the 3-point range, at the 3-point line. So
we're having a discussion, but it's those bad shots that guys like Zach LaVine take. Like, they're bad shots.
It's my point. It's not the shot. It's the decision-making behind the shot. If you have the opportunity to go to the cup and draw a foul or get an easy shot, then by all means, you should be doing that. But if the defense lays back, then you should be able to pull up and take that shot, and nobody should go, oh, that's a mid-range. That's a bad shot. No, it's circumstantial.
But I think part of this too is, like, you look at he brings up Kobe, he brings up guys like Melo. Those are guys who I think, they would play back to the basket, kind of on the elbow, and shoot turnaround fadeaway jump shots, right? And they would be more of an ISO type situation. That's the kind of stuff I think that people are trying to eradicate from the game. They're saying, hey, we're not saying don't shoot 2-pointer, don't shoot a 15-foot jump shot. They're saying, hey, like, if that's an open shot, go ahead and take it, but maybe not, don't pound the air out of the ball, back it down, shoot a fadeaway, and shoot a very inefficient shot that guys like KD or even Kobe had some success with in their careers. Zach LaVine is not that guy, right? He's not the guy to be doing that.
Well, I think the other aspect of this is that mid-range turnaround fade shot has really been beaten out of the game at lower levels. How many guys come into the league now that are capable of shooting that shot? But I mean, Scal, you played with one of the best in Paul Pierce. If you told him you can't take that shot, that mid-range shot from the elbow, be like, dude, you're taking away my sweet spot. Like, I don't and that was effective. I think the game has become so up and down. It's become so drive and kick that you don't have guys that are versed in taking that shot.
Is that better, Rick? Is that better? Is that for the better? Like, does that make the product better?
Better for scoring. Better for scoring. Well, scoring is up.
For numbers, yes. For the aesthetic of the game, I think no. I mean, it's just become such a straight line. It's 2 passes maximum, and we're getting a shot up. And I think the game, there's people that have become a little bored with the game, and I was watching it through that prism, the preseason games. And it really is. It's like we're looking for a fast break, we're looking for a shot in transition, and we're looking for threes. Like it's just become kind of predictable, kind of some of the nuances of the game. And I know I'm sounding like an old head in talking about it this way, but like the ball movement and like the Warriors really, I feel like we're the last vestige of you're seeing guys read and react and play to find easy buckets that weren't necessarily automatic to the cup. They got layups, but they got layups off of their action, even in their half court. And I don't know how many teams do that. It's like pick and roll. If I don't get the roller, I'm kicking it to a wing. We're taking a three. It's just, who doesn't do that? Name an offense right now that doesn't, there aren't even specific sets. Like, I mean, there's specific sets. There aren't specific plays. It's all run off of kind of the same action.
Miami doesn't do that. Boston doesn't do that. Golden State's the best at it. Everyone's trying to replicate them. I just watched Cleveland. They're running Beeline's offense. That was god awful. That's not going to work. So, yeah, but there's a reason for it, Rick. The reason is because you can't touch a guy. You try staying in front of these guards who are crazy skilled without touching a guy. Kobe did it, and Jordan did it for a reason, because you were allowed to put hands on guys' hips. If Kobe played now, he would run pick and roll at the top of the key. He'd be unstoppable. He'd get downhill, anything he wanted to do. He wouldn't play the same style he played then if he played now. You can't tell me
that's a really good point. That's a really good point.
You can't stop Kobe. He's impossible to stop if you can't put hands on him. You can't stop Jordan if you're not putting hands on him. You can't stop Isaiah Thomas from back in the day if you didn't put hands on him. So when you take that element out of the game, what we have is these players who are playing now, these point guards, we think they're so much better than they really are because they can do whatever they want because no one can touch them, which is the reason why the mid-range shot is not a great shot, because it's easier to get downhill.